Welcome to Sit Around the Fire, the podcast dedicated to the men and women on the front lines, first responders, military personnel, and their families. I'm your host, Ashley Dillard, and together we'll explore the challenges, the triumphs, and the real stories behind the uniform. In each episode, we'll talk about mental health, wellness, and the unique culture that comes along with serving in a high-stress environment. From building strong relationships to navigating the weight of the job, this is a space where we can be real, share experiences, and support one another. Whether you're on the front lines yourself or you're supporting someone who is, this is a podcast to remind you that you are not alone. So grab a seat, pull up to the fire, and let's get into it. Okay, welcome to Sit Around the Fire, the podcast. Super glad to have you guys on today, and I want to give our audience a chance to know who we're talking to, give us a little bit of background about you guys, who you are, and then we'll continue the conversation and go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So, Leanne, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of a little bit of your background, and then how you met Danny, and kind of give us that little your love story.
Well, believe it or not, I'm a granddaughter and daughter of a Denver firefighter. And when I met Danny, I had two small children. And he said, "Oh, funny thing, I want to be a fireman." I'm like, right in my alley. That's all I've ever known. And I wanted to be a flight attendant because I was a flight attendant. I got hired by United Airlines and then backed out at the last minute. And then we got together, and a year later we got married. And that's pretty much it. I went to work for United Airlines, and he went to work for Longmont, and we both got our jobs the very same year, 88. So it was a struggle with two small children, with his schedule and my schedule, but we made it work with his mom and my mom. You know what they say, it takes a village, and it did. Yeah. But our kids were better off for it, I think.
Yeah. And tell us how long have you guys been married now?
You want to answer that one?
Be 40 years in June.
Wow, 40. Okay.
Yep. And they said it wouldn't last.
Yeah, who said it wouldn't last?
Oh, a lot of people when we first met said it wouldn't last. Oh, right. Yeah. Right. I said the day I married him that I broke a lot of hearts. That's a true story. And they said, "Oh, it won't last." And 40 years later, here we are.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. 40 years. That's so...
Wow.
It went by quickly.
It did.
So, Danny, I want to dive in and ask some questions around being that you didn't have kids going into the relationship and the kids were smaller. How did you navigate that as coming into that new parent role while kind of going into the new realm of being a first responder?
Good question.
At first it was a little different. It was tough, but challenging. I got so involved in their lives with Leanne that you really didn't have time to think of it. We just started because they got involved in sports, in their school activities right away. So I was there helping and just being, that friend / parent at the time. So it really wasn't, I really didn't think about it. I just kind of did it.
Jumped in.
Just jumped in and did it. So it felt really natural to me. I think I became their friend and a parent figure, as we go. Yeah. And so it went pretty smooth, believe it or not. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but we made it work, and we always stayed. That was our life from the time that I met Leanne. It was all about the kids. So from that point on, it was, that's what kept us going.
The summer we got married, he was coaching their baseball team.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, so we were super busy. That's why I think our 40 years have flown by so much because we're always so active with
We're
everything.
always doing something.
Yeah, so
Yeah, okay. I want to circle back to that in just a second, but I also want to ask a little bit more about your career and being that you just recently retired. Can you share with us a little bit about what your history is as a first responder?
well, when we got together and we got married and we were living in actually living in Westminster, and my father was a Denver police officer, and I thought, maybe I'll out of school, and then when I met Leanne, I thought maybe I'll get into law enforcement, and my dad really encouraged me to try the fire service. So I joined Arvada volunteers. I actually lived in Westminster, but I joined Arvada's volunteer department. At that point, they were all volunteer. So I joined that and was on there not quite a year. And then I started testing for a permanent job in the fire service, and that's when I got hired with Longmont. So I went right into being a firefighter from the volunteers. So I was pretty fortunate that I got hired that quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then 35 years later, I retired, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know because I know you, is that you have worked a lot of positions within the fire department, both online with um, ending as a battalion chief or assistant chief. So you had some of the kind of leadership role in it as well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, going back as a firefighter for, oh gosh, I'm not quite sure how many years, but then I went to engineer where I drove. And then I went to lieutenant where I was in charge of an engine company. And then I became, like you said, assistant chief, which was a battalion chief. But I just felt like going through all those steps, it really helped me as a chief to understand, the job for everyone and for the most part. And I think that helped me going through. I was very fortunate to get that far in my career. Because most, a lot of people don't, and some do it because they don't want to, but I just thought I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
And hopefully that was a good one. I think I was.
I mean, I think we could say like the people enjoyed working for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, they did.
they did for sure.
I saw him years when he retired.
I know. Yes. Yeah. Lots. Um, I have a question for both of you guys. And so whoever wants to kind of dive in or go first is with both of you having parents who were first responders, what was your experience like growing up in a family that was centered around that? And did that make it kind of a natural model for you moving into then being in a relationship with a first responder?
Well, I'll answer that first because I think I had a unique perspective because I know both my sons are firefighters and both of their wives were not as excited about the shift work. And I didn't know anything else. I literally know nothing else but fire service. I mean, I lived it. I don't remember my life without my dad being a firefighter. So that is can be difficult on the family. Because I remember back in the day, my mom said Christmas is when I say it is. Just because it's the 25th doesn't mean, because we couldn't always have holidays on holidays being married to a firefighter. And that's very difficult for people who aren't accustomed to that. They have a hard time adjusting to that. And I had a very easy time adjusting because I didn't know anything else. So for me, I just didn't know anything else. But shift work is hard on a family sometimes. But for us, it was easy for me. And for him, he had a different perspective from his father. Yeah. He had a little different situation.
Being a police officer, the schedule was a little different, but we did have times where, he wasn't there when we would have a game or something. So we grew up knowing that, but we understood it. Like Leanne said, it just grew on us, and we knew that that's what we expected. So.
But his dad got hurt on the job.
Yeah, too. My dad got hurt early in his career, so his path was a little different, but it ended up being good. And I like the idea of either fire or police, public safety, that you're there helping people. And I just thought that was definitely what I wanted to do. And that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah. It is so fascinating how like many people in this career field come from first responder families. And so
Mhm.
very few just kind of randomly get into it.
True.
But
That's
a lot of people, it is like you said, Leanne, it's kind of all that they know.
That's all I
Yeah.
knew. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah,
Sure.
it's true. And you have to, it is more of a calling, but if you're raised like that, it's almost like that's all you know. I mean, my son, when my oldest son got out of college, he actually was in CBI and was going to be a cop. And my father-in-law had a big say in that and said, absolutely not over my dead body. He said, no. He said, go do what your dad does. And by the way, the boys called him dad from the very get-go. I don't think they ever called you Danny, did they?
No.
They never did. They called him dad from the very get-go. But so his dad told him, Chad, no, you're going to go, if you want to do that kind of service, you're going to go be a fireman like your dad. And he did and never looked back. But he had a harder time because of 9/11. But 9/11 changed both of our lives, actually.
Sure.
Because we both were impacted being a flight attendant and a firefighter. That was very impactful. We looked at things differently.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you mind like diving in a little bit more to that, talking about it? If your love life is starting to feel like you're on a call with no backup, I've got the dispatch for you. Join us live on January 11th at 10 a.m. for a workshop where we'll teach you how to navigate the minefield of romance with the finesse of a SWAT team. What's on the agenda? We're going to talk about how to diffuse criticism, end stonewalling, through mastering the art of not just responding but connecting, even when you feel like you're behind a wall of silence. We're going to host a live Q&A after the workshop where you can bring your relationship woes and we'll troubleshoot like you're on a scene. If you can't make it online that day, we'll record it and we'll send it right to your inbox. That way you can review everything in your own time and convenience. Don't let your personal life feel like an unmanageable scene. Gear up for a better communication by clicking in the show notes below for the link to sign up for the workshop. Remember, this isn't just about saving others, it's about saving your relationship too. Registration for the course is open now, but closes on January 4th. Don't waste time, secure your spot. Now, back to the show.
Well, I lost 5 friends that I knew personally. And it was very impactful. You never really went back on the airplane ever thinking the same. You were just much more aware of so many things. And it kind of jaded us. I don't know. We had just been at a picnic with the pilot that died in Pennsylvania, Dahl. And it was so impactful knowing we were just with him and he died. But no, we didn't know any of the firefighters, but a lot of the firefighters from Longmont went there and helped with it. And, survivor guilt is something that kind of comes to mind. You almost feel like, God, I'm so grateful that it wasn't me. Because I did know several people because I was based in Newark.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit of survivor guilt. I think any firefighter or flight attendant or pilot might think that.
Yeah, definitely.
It changed the whole industry.
Absolutely. Changed our job, as you know.
Yeah, it changed everything.
It's the way we do it.
For a lot of us. And probably
Excuse me.
For the best. I think it changed everything in a better way because we're all a little more aware and don't take things for granted.
Right.
And each other.
Sure.
Because, once you walk out that door, you never know if we're going to come back.
Right.
We never know. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring and just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when we are working as first responders, we forget that like that risk level is so much higher. So be it like you could be a civilian and get in a car accident on your way to work and not make it, but we do so many things that are such a higher risk level that uh, we don't often think that we are not invincible. Like
Sure.
we
That's
do
true.
have the ability to get hurt or to not come home after shift.
Yeah.
A lot of people would ask me, how do you do it? How can you be a firefighter's wife and now a mother? I said, I don't know anything else. I don't think of it as, oh my God, he may not walk out. He may not come home. I never really thought of it every day. But 9/11 sort of changed a little bit of that. But then once you get back into your routine, you just realize just like you said, my neighbor across the street who goes into the office could drive out on Quebec and get smashed by an 18-wheeler. Who knows?
True.
Everything is, relative. It just, you don't know. I just try not to think about that.
Hmm.
You just have to appreciate them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
What do you guys think? You mentioned a few minutes ago about like your relationship from the get-go was very centered around kids and you had kid stuff to do right away. Did you find any challenges in that between the two of you in terms of your developing your relationship and working on your marriage together? Did you find any challenges?
It's a lot of work. I mean, I think that's the one thing that people, um, a lot of failed relationships, people just don't put the work in it. I mean, it's like anything, but it's a lot of work, right? When you go into a relationship and you have kids already, and you don't, it's double the work, but you work harder at it and you appreciate it more. That's just the way I feel about the whole thing. I mean, we wasn't perfect, never was perfect, but you just worked through everything and you made it happen.
But we always made each other first.
Right. Yes.
We just did. We always have.
Yeah.
And the kids just were right along with us. It wasn't
Yeah.
like we separated them. It was like he didn't just marry me.
Yeah, I married her and two boys.
He married me and two boys, yeah.
So,
and we were a package deal. And
yeah.
I never ever felt like he treated my children like stepchildren, ever. And the word stepchild or stepson never has ever uttered out of his lips. And
Right.
stepdad out of their lips. It was just a perfect match. It was really a perfect fit. And we think we met for a reason.
Yep.
Because he made me a better person. And I really think my boys are as successful as they are because of him. Because his nature is amazing.
Yeah.
He's got the best nature.
I hope so.
And character.
Oh, you guys.
I do still really like him after 40 years.
I mean, that's a commitment. So
It is.
It is. But it has gotten better over 40 years. It hasn't plateaued. I still think we still have a long way to go. We still have so much more we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear more about. I love talking about conflict, obviously, because I hear a lot about it when people come to see me, and many people struggle with how to communicate within a relationship. So tell me about some of the goods and the bads of what you guys have experienced in communication and conflict.
I think, if you don't,
No, go ahead.
I think a lot of it, and this is going back to being a firefighter, is a lot of the guys are stressed at work. And back in the day, you didn't dare say anything because then you were labeled as, weak or something. And I think they would bring that home and then they wouldn't talk to their spouse. And I think there was a lot of problems at home because of that. But I wasn't afraid to come home and talk to Leanne without including specifics, if I couldn't. But that was good because then you have someone to talk to, and that's what you need to do. You need to be open with your spouse, and that's where you get it off your chest. And it not that it's going to go away, but at least you have someone to talk to, and you don't just come home and, keep it all balled up. And then, that's just not a good ending. So I think some of our conflicts that we had, a lot of them are just life, just things in life, money or whatever. And it's never perfect, like I said, but if you talk and you listen to each other, you don't always agree, which is fine because that's just the way it is.
Boring.
Yeah, but you have to talk, and you have to more importantly, you have to listen.
You have to listen.
And you do have to do that. That goes with anything, and in more so in relationships. Otherwise, they won't last.
We're basically Team Ditirro. We've always been a team, and no matter what it is we're doing, if it's taking care of the kids or working on a house project or figuring out which bills to pay or this move was huge. This was a very big, stressful thing for us. Mm-hmm. We both felt like we were in moving hell. Mm-hmm. And it was a real, I think it was really not a challenge for us, but it really, it showed us who we really are. Yeah. It was tough. It was hard. 35 years we were in that house, and we did the entire move basically by ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was a huge test.
It was a huge test. Yeah.
That I could see being a conflict for people. And for us, it was a struggle. It was tough at times, but we got through it. We just kept going, and like I said, you got to stay open, listen, and talk, and otherwise it would never happen. So
I'll tell you the biggest struggle for me when he retired.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was hard. I was used to my 2 days. You kind of get used to those 2 days to yourself. And him too. I think he had his 2 days. And then when you come home, and we had the perfect storm. When I was a flight attendant, I would be gone and he'd be by himself, and he would have to take care of the kids or whatever. And he'd have to take care of whatever needed to be taken care of. And then when he was gone, I'd have to do the same. And I think that made us stronger as a couple.
Sure.
But then when he retired, we were 24/7 together. I was like, oh boy, I have to give up my remote control. I have to give up the remote and a lot of other things.
So I put another TV in the house, so we have 2 TVs. No,
it was an adjustment. I wouldn't say it was a conflict.
Yeah.
It was a huge adjustment, and I do think people need to think about that really hard. Not to not retire, but to plan your retirement and what you're going to do, because a firefighter retiring is way different than anybody else retiring. They're home a lot, but they're home, but they never used to be at home. Everybody else comes home every night for dinner, and then they retire and they move on. With a firefighter, it's way different. And it's something that I don't think we really discussed as much as I think we should have. That's one thing. I don't regret it because we worked through it, but it was hard. It was a struggle. I kind of felt like him home all the time, but I feel like it was almost like not a divorce, but a death. It was almost like a death because I felt like I lost the firefighter family, because they're so much a part of our family. And now we feel so disconnected. Yeah. That's been a little hard for us.
That's tough. Yeah.
It's been tough for me.
Tough.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much good stuff to dig into here. I love it. It's so what I'm going to come back to the family part, I promise. But tell me a little bit about, if you were, or let's say someone who is preparing to retire, what are some of the things that you think that they need to talk about, or these discussions to have before retirement comes?
I think for me, and I'm fortunate because I do get invited back to the station for dinner every once in a while, and I get to see the guys. I think some people, they go away and they completely cut themselves off, and I think that's probably not a good idea at first. I think they need to go back up and at least visit and stay in touch, and other people at the firehouse need to stay in touch with them to make sure they're okay.
That's what she means. I think she means retirement.
Oh, I'm sorry. For us, you mean?
No, that's good too. But yeah, no, I like that. But for you guys as a couple.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think it's good.
I was a chief, remember? I don't listen to people.
She wants to know what would be best, what would we have done different to plan our retirement. Well, what we did do, and this, we took a vacation to Hawaii to discuss retirement.
Right. Yeah.
What it will look like, and that was a really good thing. I'm glad we did that. That was a good thing. And then we kind of planned ahead. But you got to plan ahead, and I think he just sort of decided on a day without talking to me about it. And I wasn't really fully prepared. I think you need it's like you said, the communication. You need to really talk about it and really be on the same page and know. I wasn't really as ready as he was. I thought he was going to do the whole year out, and he cut it off right in the middle of the year. Yeah. And I wasn't really prepared for that.
I didn't want to take the combat test again.
No. Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that? Yeah. Right. Well, that's October.
I think another big thing too is the finances, to make sure you have those in order. And we thought we did, and we did. I mean, we made it work, but excuse me. Yeah, that's a big one, to know what you're going to have coming in, where you're at with your finances.
One thing I would recommend if somebody was contemplating this, and I didn't think of it at the time, but I remember an old firefighter that Danny used to work with told us that he and his wife for 1 year, or was it 6 months, Jeff Peterson.
Oh yeah.
They figured out what they were going to make that during retirement, and they didn't spend one more dime, and they worked on exactly that budget and exactly what they're bringing in for 6 months, I think it was, to prepare. We didn't do that. We just jumped into it.
Yeah.
And that was a little hard. That was hard.
I mean, it's just, obviously it's an adjustment, but it's a huge adjustment.
Mm-hmm. This is communication.
Yeah.
Back to your big C word.
Yeah.
And it is a big C word. Communication is key.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys have alluded to this and talked about it, but a lot, you had an identity as a couple who was a first responder couple. And suddenly, after you leave for the last time, like that identity shifts, and that's no longer what you have anymore. And so I think it's so crucially important for us to, well, as individuals, but then as units too, to have things outside of that too, where you're not Danny the firefighter, or like you have an identity that's outside of that. And especially when you go to prepare for retirement, that starts to develop before you retire. Because I think you're very lucky that you had a healthy relationship to sustain it. But this, I think, is where we see so many people who retire, who get divorced, or literally die very soon after retirement, because they haven't worked on any of this stuff or addressed or handled any of it. And now what was there is no longer there anymore.
Right. That's true.
You're right.
I think that was his biggest fear. I have to tell you, he mentioned it more than once about how many battalion chiefs retired and died. Yeah. And he was so concerned about that.
In Longmont.
I'm like,
not a good history.
Yeah, I'm like, let's not manifest that. Let's not talk about it. Yeah. But it is a big thing. And I do think that played a lot into his retirement thinking. I'm really healthy now. Let's go retire while we're still healthy and young and can enjoy life. Mm-hmm. That's what we did.
Yeah.
We took a nice big retirement trip to Europe for 3 weeks, and it was amazing.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
You mentioned a few minutes ago, too, the working through or navigating kind of being disconnected from the community that you knew for so long, the fire family. Tell me a little bit more about that, or the impact that it's had on you guys together.
The job itself, not so much. That's obviously, that it's, but it's more the connection with the people I worked with, all of you guys, and being part of the city, Longmont, watching Longmont change and grow. And, that was my life for a long time. And I try to go back up there and see people, like I said. So
but you don't know anybody anymore.
It's hard because there is a lot of new faces. Jeremy kind of keeps us updated how things are going, but but it's tough. I do like to go back up to the city because I can't believe how it's changed. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I miss that. I miss it being from when I started as being a little town growing into a city, but I try to stay connected as much as I can. I should do more. I should try to get up there more. There's a group of older retired people, like very old, and Scott Noakes is probably the youngest out of all of them. And they go to breakfast every Monday. So I try to go up there. I try to go more. I'm trying to go more often.
For me, it's just the family aspect. I feel like I lost my family because I don't see any of them hardly anymore. We see a few of them at parties and things, but we just feel so cut off and kind of disconnected from them.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was hard for me more than him because he's, I don't think it bothered you as much as it bothered me. I feel like I lost all my sons and daughters that I had gotten to be so close to because I got really close to a lot of them. And, I don't hear from them as much as I'd like. That's the only thing.
Do you think there's any accountability for that or anything that the culture could change as a whole to help people through that transition?
I do. I think there should be, even going back to before someone retires, that there's a group that could try to, meet, like the peer support team. Are you still involved with that at all? Or
She's not on one anymore.
No, I know, but she could.
I am within reason. Like I'm connected within peer supports, but not the same way. But
yeah. But I mean, that's probably a good avenue that, try to get with people, and all you can do is offer what you can to them, to when they try to have them come back up. Maybe you talk to a station and say, hey, look, Ditirro's leaving. Can you guys reach out to him in a couple months and maybe have him up for dinner? Just try to keep people involved that way. That's, as you know, means a lot to me when they call me and say, hey, what are you doing come on up for dinner? That's nice. It just means, like, to me, it means that they're still thinking of me, and they, because other people just are cut off, and they're cut off. They never come back.
And it's not healthy, I don't think, for them, actually, because we hear they're not doing well, actually, some of them. Yeah. And I do think they did have a group of people like the peer support, only a retirement support group.
Yeah. I mean.
And you can be as involved in it as you want. If they reach out to you and you reach out back and you connect with them, fine. If you don't, then you just don't.
Sure.
But that would be nice. And not just for the retiree, but their family, if they want to be involved. I just felt we were, as a fire chief, as the assistant chief, I was very involved with everybody too. So I lost everybody as well. And I don't ever think about that. It's hard. It was hard.
Oh,
I miss all of them. But I don't know any of them now. I haven't been up there since he retired. Have I?
For retirement.
Oh, I went to a retirement. Yeah, one of the retirement parties.
Yeah. There's actually a lot that I've been gone for. It was a year, the end of the year actually, and there's so many that I don't even know, and I've only been gone for a year. So it's like the wheel keeps moving for sure, but sometimes we forget that there's still humans that still have really put a lot into these connections too over time that mean a lot. So I think
35 years
do better.
Yeah, true.
To be a part of something and then just be cut off. That's hard. That was tough.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, or how have you tended to your mental health, not only throughout your career, but in preparing for retirement? What did that look like for you as you were going to be stepping out of that?
Yeah, like Leanne said, vacation.
Vacations. We always knew when we were ready for a vacation, which we are right now ready for a vacation.
I bet. After the move, I bet.
After moving and the holidays, and we did a major construction thing here at the new house before the holidays. Now we're really ready.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for vacation because you work towards that. And as far as the mental health, I think it goes back to just staying involved with stuff and talking to people and not keeping things in. I and when we started the peer sport team, I thought that was huge because some of the calls we ran back in the days, and we'd just go back to the station, and that was it. I mean, nothing was said, and we would all be like, "Oh my gosh, that's horrible." But I think the peer sport really it meant a lot to me that I was part of it, and I think it helped a lot of people. I really did. I think it finally got people to open up. As you know, I mean, we had people that wouldn't say boo that were reaching out and stuff, and that's huge. You can't cure everybody, but if you can cure some, that's huge.
Well, for us, it's to mental.
Yeah.
We do vacations to reset.
Yeah.
We just like to just go and
Sure.
we don't plan anything. We just plan where we're going and just do a reset.
Nice. Yeah. Very good. What can you give us some background or tell us what it was like starting the peer support team on a department that didn't have one?
You know, the time that we decided that we needed it was we had a horrible wreck on Highway 66 where a state patrolman was killed, and the police department, they had one. And I happened to be working that day, and that was a horrible day. And I thought, my gosh, and they came and helped us. You know, they sent I forget what it was called. I think it was called the Mayflower, maybe. It was a outfit that came in to try to talk to us. And they came to the station. Of course, nobody would talk. And then they left, and the police officers came in, and these guys opened up and talked to them, and it seemed to help. And that's when I thought we need to start a peer sport. And that's when we talked to Chief Butler and said, we got to do this. And police, they were huge helping us start it. And I really think it helped. And, going back to with the incident with Shane and everything, it just, it helped. Thank God we had it, because I think it helped us get through quite a few things, So I think that's when we started. It was after that wreck. That was a horrible day.
Yeah.
Decided we got to do something.
Firefighters I'm sure that there's things that they wish they can unsee.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can unburden your mind of that by talking to each other peer wise,
Yep.
I think that helps that a lot. I think
did.
It helped Danny a lot, I know.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we're always the best gauge on how each other is doing, because we work with each other so much. We can notice, like, hey, they're not really acting right, or they're hanging out in their room way more. And you can, not always, but sometimes you can recognize that faster. And then you have such a special connection peer to peer.
Yeah.
That is so important.
Asking people how they're doing.
Yeah, I think we once we started that team, I think things got a lot better in Longmont Fire. I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm. So what I love, like, for people to give other people advice, not just me, because I by no means have it all figured out, but I like to speak to sometimes the newer group of, I call it like the 5 years and under group, who are just starting their career. What would you guys offer to not just the first responders, but their partners, their families, as some words of wisdom or advice of things that could help potentially make it a little bit easier for them to navigate the intricacies of what this relationship demands?
Well, from my perspective, I could always tell if you really know your person, your whatever that is, or your wife or your husband, if you really know them, you know when they need to have some space. Give them that space. Don't be nagging on them about what's wrong. That's the worst thing you can do. Just let them have their space, and they will come to you if you let them. And they will talk about it if that's what they need to talk about, if they need to do that. Don't hover, and let them give them their space. I think that was the biggest thing. And keep them busy. That's another thing. We didn't have much time to not be busy. We were so busy with 2 little kids. And then when they got older, it was even more busy because they were always involved in sports. So I think having a family life is the best thing for a firefighter because they can disassociate. They can leave it at the firehouse and come home and know they have something to come home to and that they look forward to, like going to a football game or going to a baseball game, which is that was our life. And I think that really helped them
Sure.
to get it off their mind and not have to think about it. When you're let them sit in their room all the time to think about it, that's actually not good. Just be supportive. You got to be a supportive partner.
Listen and be supportive. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
And staying busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't around.
What is, you kind of guys have mentioned a little bit of travel and stuff coming up, but I feel like this is really like a new season of your relationship, being that like obviously you don't have kids at home anymore, you guys have grandkids and you're doing all these things together now. How are you getting to know one another in this season of your relationship?
It's interesting that you should say that because it's a different level.
Yeah, absolutely different.
It's just almost like a different level.
Different part of our life, definitely.
Yeah, it's a whole new chapter. We were in a new chapter when he retired, and now we're in even a different level of chapter, I guess, moving. And if I could just get him to stay home more.
Moving's a big test.
Moving was a big test.
Moving was probably one of the biggest tests in our marriage. But I think it
really strengthened us.
Oh my gosh.
We always were Team Ditirro, but we're more Team Ditirro now than ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We really
if you don't mind sharing, like what were some of the biggest hurdles or challenges you came across with the move?
Selling our other house.
Well, selling our other house, but thinking, it's just so much work and just knowing when each other is at your breaking point, saying, hey, let's take a break, let's go eat something, or we just kept on going, we didn't stop. Mm-hmm. And it was back and forth a lot. It was a lot. There was just so much purging, and what he thought we should get rid of, I didn't, and vice versa. That was a huge point of contention for us,
right?
Trying to purge what he thought I should purge and what I thought he should purge. Two different things.
Well, and you said it was 35 years of your life. Like, that's a lot to go through and to grieve and to let go of things. That's a lot.
Yeah, 35
at that house.
35 35 years at that house. And, it was difficult. And things I thought he should have done way earlier, he made him have to do. Then he made, it was kind of a little animosity because I thought he should have done it. And he was like, why are you making me do this? And, that kind of thing. It was just silly. Yeah.
But we worked through it.
Yeah, we did. And at the end, it worked out. We always know we trust each other. And we know it's going to be the right thing. And it was.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting.
No, moving is terrible.
I'm glad we're here now. We love our new home and we love our new life. And very, very relaxed now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like what you said where you mentioned like we take a time out, and literally like that's what we call it, is like when things get to a certain level, you have to take a time out. Like you have to stop.
That's exactly right. One of us have to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
And go, and even though the other one didn't want to, and I'm like, no, you're going to stop and we're going to go do this and we'll come back. Yeah. And he would get so frustrated and I go, just stop and walk away from it and let's go do something and come back. And you know what? It always worked out. Yeah. It seemed like it seemed better. It didn't seem as stressful to do that. Mm-hmm. And he'd have to do the same to me.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. We know each other so well that we would have to know when we're at our breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge test, but the good news is we made it through to the other side. And we kept telling everybody, we're in moving hell. Yeah. Help me, get me out.
Well, and it's a lot, you guys. I mean, because you didn't retire that long ago, so it's like a lot of big life things happening to you guys, and lots of like shifting into this new season, and that's a lot.
It was a lot. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I'm not really sure how we came to that conclusion that we needed to move.
Yeah, I don't know.
We just all of a sudden we sort of at the same time. That was after
Dove into it.
traveling. We decided to come home and go. We're really not enjoying retirement. What are you doing?
Mm.
Let's downsize and start really
Yeah.
retiring. But I think that we came to that conclusion at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To the dismay of one of our sons, he didn't like that we were living so far away.
We're moving a little further away from the oldest son.
Oh gosh.
Not like we're in a different state.
I keep asking.
We're good.
I said I'm not in another state.
Yeah.
I'm just 10 minutes on the highway farther. It's not that big a deal.
Perspective. Keep it in perspective.
Perspective.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, and I like what you allude to is like you guys are making decisions together as a unit, as a couple, what's best for you. So in the seasons before were very centered around kids and what their needs were. But for now it's like you guys are working together, Team Ditirro, and making decisions for you guys.
That was that was a big thing because we really got some pushback from the other side, from one of our sons and the grandkids. And I'm like, you guys are so busy, and
we have to think of our
what
future.
we need to do for us.
Yeah,
we can't wait till you're in college. We got to do it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we, for the first time, probably since we were married, that we decided what's best for him and I, rather than what's best for our family unit.
Right.
Because we knew we really weren't changing the family unit. We were just doing something for us that they were not involved in, and they were not happy about it. But it's okay.
They'll get over it.
They'll get over it.
They'll be out here golfing. They won't say a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing when we actually like do make those decisions in that mind frame. We show up so much better for our people around us, anyways.
I agree with you, and I came to that conclusion on New Year's. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, because I'm a happier person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Less stress. Yeah, that's exactly. I did come to that conclusion, and you're right. I do. We didn't think about it at the time, but we are now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other advice you would give at all to anybody who's in doing the job now, whether it's online type advice or relationship advice? Anything else that you can think of out of your 40 years of experience?
Just
trust your gut.
Yeah.
Seriously, biggest thing, trust your gut.
But to be open with your spouse, and not keep things in. Talk to people.
Communicate, talk
to somebody.
Really communicate. Never go to bed. I know this sounds like a cliche, but it's really the truth. Don't go to bed mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Don't go to bed mad. That's because you wake up with more animosity, I think.
True.
And we always have tried not to do that.
Right. Yeah.
It makes life so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wouldn't have changed anything. I wouldn't have changed his career. I wouldn't have changed mine. There's nothing I would have changed. No, we love our life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes our love better, I think, because we are very happy.
Yeah.
I do miss people like you. I miss you. I miss all of them back there at Longmont. I miss them all.
I know. Yeah, I think, we all need to do better at taking care of one another in general.
Well, everybody's so busy that they barely can take care of themselves. You gotta, but I do think it would be nice to see more people more often.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think hopefully like the community, like we have to stay in community, whatever that looks like.
I like the word. That's a good word. The community needs to stay intact.
Yeah.
Intact. Not necessarily always together, but communication is key.
Stay in touch.
Yeah. Yes, not that hard, but it seems to be sometimes.
Sure.
We do see people here and there. We've traveled with it. We had the best time. We all went to Nashville together.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of retired. There was about 5 couples? 5 retired couples. That was really fun. That was fun. And we definitely need to do that more. That was a blast.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I'm in on the Nashville trip. You let me know the next time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh. We will.
So fun.
That was a hoot.
That was fun. I love Nashville. I could have lived there, actually. Then they could have really been mad at me if I'd have moved out of state.
Right. That's actually one of the places too that I'm like, yeah, I could actually live in Nashville.
Oh, I could too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's people there. There's always something going on, and that's us. We're movers and shakers. We don't let grass grow under our feet too much.
True.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that's key.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's key.
Yeah.
That's a key to do that. Stay busy.
I agree. Speaking of, like, what is the next trip that you guys have planned coming up?
We're not sure yet. We were talking about that. We do a lot of camping in the summer, so that will be coming soon. But we're trying to figure out, because it'll be our 40th wedding anniversary, we told you. In June. So we're going to try to do something with the family. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to go. We're not sure yet. So it's in the works.
We're probably going to hop on an airplane in February and go out to Arizona
and see some old neighbors.
And see some friends. They've been bugging us to go out. We just need to get away for a couple days.
Yeah.
And we have friends in Florida that we might go see maybe in March or the end of February. And then something in June.
Yeah.
We're not sure what yet.
No huge ones yet, but we'll get something.
Looking at Belize.
Yeah.
Never been there. Have you ever been to Belize?
No, I haven't, but I know people who have, and they said it's incredible.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah. And do you guys snorkel?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The diving and the snorkeling there, I've heard, is very good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
No, we're not divers, but we do snorkel. We like to snorkel.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just want to be anywhere where there's a beach and the sun and warm water.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you.
That's my happy place.
Yes. So can you guys give us an idea of, maybe you could do it individually and then see what your answer is together, but what are ways or your favorite self-care practices that you have going on now?
Self-care. He's not very good about that. Trying to get him to go get pedicures with me. That's
even that's just doing things together, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We got stock show coming up. We're just doing things together.
Yeah.
That's for us right now. We don't do anything. We used to do Pilates. We kind of backed off on that.
When we moved.
That was huge.
We actually really loved doing that. We loved it. And all of our friends made fun of us because we made a point of going once a week, and we always did it together.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And that was a very good self-care. And I missed that. We need to go back and do that again. Since
we moved, it was over in Arvada. It had been kind of difficult. But as far as self-care for each other, things we do, little things, going to dinner or making time to go, even like a shopping
He never used to go shopping with me. Now he does. And I love that. I love that he goes with me. But getting him to go get a pedicure.
I try.
He actually likes them. He just doesn't want to take the time to go do it, and he needs to do.
Can you please send me a picture when the next time you go get a pedicure?
I always said after running calls and picking people up from the feed end of the pram, I said, I will never let myself go.
He'll never let his feet look like that. So he has to go periodically. Good about self-care.
Yeah. No, I mean we just little things we do, like preparing dinner. Like tonight, we're trying a new recipe.
That's another. Yeah, we do.
So
that. That's our new thing.
We like to us. That's therapeutic for us.
Yeah, we love to cook together. Now. All of a sudden, that's our new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll come up. His new thing is, oh my gosh, he loves recipes. He's constantly looking for new recipes and sending it to me. So he's all about food.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you know that, Ashley. He's all about the food.
Yeah. I know, but it's not a bad thing.
No.
When we enjoy cooking together.
I would think that's our self-care is doing things together.
Well, but it's definitely something
I think it is
to together. It's not really self-care.
I think it is.
Okay. We're gonna go with that one.
Yeah. I like it.
Just doing things together.
Yeah. He cares a lot about me, and I care a lot about him. So if it's something that's important to him, I always say go for it. And he never tells me no if I want to go get a facial or get my nails done. He encourages me to do that. I just wish he would go do that with me more.
Not my nails.
What about the facial though?
Oh, when we're on vacation,
No.
I make him do the facial things. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun thing. We do that when we're on vacation. And we're due for a vacation, so you will be doing that.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Happy life, right?
Yeah.
I tell him that all the time. I remind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also remind him when you have the best, there is no better. So just enjoy it while you can.
Yes. Yeah. And you guys brought such a good point to the surface is like, you have to remember to date your spouse, your partner.
Oh, we do that all the time. We always have.
Yeah.
We've always made each other very much a priority.
Yeah.
Even when the kids were little and it was super stressful, we knew that was real important. We always have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So important.
Even if it's to McDonald's, we still do it.
Yep.
Well, normally back in the day for a long time, tell her what our Friday night date used to always be.
Home Depot?
Home Depot. Yeah, we'd look at each other and go, "Oh my God, it's Friday night and we're at Home Depot. How pathetic we are."
We do have a job that we work together. We're bartenders.
Oh yeah, we do. That's right.
Oh wow.
We belong to a club. It's called the Sons and Daughters of Italy. It's an Italian club, and we're the bartenders. So, like tomorrow, we're working the bar there.
And we're the bar managers.
Yeah, we work there Friday night.
And everyone loves it when we're there because
we have a great time.
Yeah, we work really well together.
Yeah,
when I know what he's thinking, he knows what I'm thinking, and we just I just hand it to him, or he just hands it to me. It's great. We work really well together.
Yeah,
at the bar.
Oh my gosh, this makes my heart so happy. I love it.
I'll send you a couple pictures of us at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, please. Yes, I would love that. Oh,
we enjoy that a lot. It's fun. We look forward to it.
Yeah.
We do ballroom the second and fourth Fridays of every month. And if we're not there, we hear about it. We really enjoy it. They enjoy us too.
Yes. Yeah.
Fun.
Very cool. No, I think you've given us so much good information, and I appreciate you guys both so much for sharing your story and talking about things and speaking to those who are online and trying to navigate a family and a relationship and all those things. It's not easy at all.
No.
But
never give up. So what did he used to say? What did George Lopez used to say? Never have or have not. There's no have nots ever. You always have, never not have not, or something like that. Yeah, you always think positive. Don't let that negativity creep in.
Yeah.
If you let that negativity creep in, it just explodes and it'll manifest. It'll spread. So you just have to work really hard to work. I'll tell you, marriage is work every day. You have to work at it every single day.
As you know.
As you know now. It's just, but it really upsets me when I hear couples that are getting divorced. They haven't been married 5 years. Like, they didn't even try. You got to try. You got to make it work. You got to try harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that the work is a blessing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, everything is a blessing. I feel so blessed in my life. I just feel very, very fortunate that we have the jobs we have. We have the grandkids we have. We have amazing sons. We have amazing daughter-in-laws. And now we have an amazing new house. So we love it. We life is good.
Oh, awesome. I love it.
Most importantly.
That's the main thing.
We have our health. That is.
Gotta have that.
The older you get, the more you realize how important that is.
Yeah.
Yes, and you continue with your Pilates and pedicures.
Yes, we will.
Pilates
and pedicures.
Yes.
Definitely.
Watch it.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast, and so blessed and grateful that you guys did so.
Welcome anytime.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Oh gosh.
Some light on someone.
Yeah. Anytime you want to come be a guest, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was so good to see your smiling face. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
You too.
we'll have you guys down, okay?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, we would love that. So, good luck with your new recipe tonight.
Okay.
Rigatoni, by the way, of course.
Of course.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Yeah. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Sit Around the Fire. We're excited to keep the conversation and connection going. I invite you to check out our website, link in the description below. Also, don't wait to get signed up for the upcoming workshop, Strengthening Bonds, working on efficient communication between first responders and their partners. You can sign up for this via the website or the link in the description in the notes. We look forward to sitting around the fire again with you very soon.